We are here with Mark Farner. A month shy of 11 years to the day I interviewed you at the Mohegan Sun. August 31, 2001.
Wow, yeah.
Time flies.
Sure does.
I said it off camera, Mark. You were more energetic last week at the Esplanade than you were 11 years ago.
Thank you, brother. Well, I think it's because the love keeps growing in me, you know. I gave myself to love. And every day it's a commitment to love because I know that's who I am in the core of me. I see it in all these little babies that I get a chance to hold, or I see the precious babies. I know that's who I really am. It's with the situations in life that cause me to react and recoil and go back further into the cave and, you know, protect myself out of, you know, self-defense. But really, love brought us here. The evidence is in the babies, and love has taken us from these bones onto the next portion of our existence, which, you know, it's going to be cool. I mean, this was great. The bone suit, not a bad place to spend time. Can you tell that woman?
There was 60.
Have to wait.
There were 300 girls banging down the door downstairs. You know, Mark Farner's. No,
Tokyo Hilton.
well, we're overlooking 128. This is like the other side of Silicon Valley. This is America's technology highway.
Yeah.
So if the enemies, whomever they are these days, want to drop something, this is one of the first targets.
Ooh.
This is where they build missiles and stuff here.
Yeah.
So we need some prayers on this highway.
Right on, brother.
You know, missiles of love.
Big angels. The badass angels. Yeah.
Big angels. Ian Anderson at Jethro Tull was coming to town, so I talked to him and I said, do you like all the taping? He goes, no, I don't like it. And so I'm at the concert in Aqualung. He goes into Aqualung and the phones go up. Ian's worst nightmare, you know? The bigger the hit, the more the cell phones go up.
Yeah.
Now, when I talked to you at the Mohegan Sun, they were all very, you know, make sure the camera doesn't get people, you know, just get the recording artist. Mm-hmm. So we did, and there weren't all these YouTubes. 11 years later?
It's like everybody and their brother is recording, putting stuff up, you know, which is cool, really. For me, I as long as they spell the name right.
Well,
what can I tell you?
I'm a week late with the review. The review should be up right now on TMR Zoo, but I'm writing the review in the audience, you know. But now I go home today, you know, I had Mark Farner on drums. So that's a little YouTube clip, and it's you on drums. Is it After American Band or in American Band? I forget. But you're doing a little drum solo when you're playing?
Yeah, we did that just before Inside Looking Out.
Inside Looking Out,
yeah.
Okay. Bluesheimers these days, you know. But there's a little clip now on the internet, so I'm writing the review, and I got that going. It's like, it's instant. For a critic, it's a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
My research is so much easier than 20 years ago when I had to do things at the library with books.
Right on.
You know,
Yeah.
All the Grand Funk records next to me. Mm-hmm. You worked with Frank Zappa.
Yeah, what a joy.
What was it like working with Frank? You've worked with so many great producers, Todd Rundgren, Jimmy Ienner, Dick Wagner.
Oh, man. Yeah, great producers. And Zappa was a very unique individual. He was like, he has this way about him. I still feel his spirit because of, you know, the impression he made upon me and who he was to me, because he was no drugged out dude. This dude didn't do drugs. It's like people thought he was, you know, high all the time. Yeah. And the only thing he did was a lot of coffee and cigarettes. I mean, you know, and I think that's what they said, you know, caused the liver. But as far, yeah, cirrhosis, because he sure didn't drink, you know.
It was cigarettes then?
The coffee, my God. He had one of those air pot deals, you know, you push down and the coffee comes out. It's a thermos. He's check it, you know, check it. You want to get about, you know, halfway down, he'd send the engineer out to do another pot of coffee. And I'm serious, he drank coffee 100% of the time, all day and all night. Coffee, black coffee.
Insights into the genius of Zappa. Now, for you, I mean, you know.
Can I just tell you?
Yeah, please.
He was a family man, a loving man. Yeah, his lyrics and whatever, you know, had shock value. and he knew that, and it was tongue-in-cheek with Frank. And people that knew felt it in his music. He was a genius. He really was in his own right, I believe. But his heart, he had a great heart, man. Frank was, man. He wanted to know about the song "Don't Let 'Em Take Your Gun" that was on, the Good Singing, Good Playing album that he produced. And he says, "What's this about?" And I told him about, the Second Amendment, and that it is our right, the people's right, to keep and bear arms against enemies, domestic and foreign, and anybody that would rise up against the freedom and the peace that we seek, us freedom lovers, and told him about the NRA, and as much as it's so controversial even to me now, the NRA and what the hell they're doing, but at the time I believed in the NRA, and I was a life member, still am, but he wanted to shoot a gun. He'd never shot a gun. So I go over to the house across the street, the farm, and I get a .44 Magnum.
Oh, you were recording in Michigan that album?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was at the swamp with us.
Oh.
And we had, we lovingly called it the swamp because we had to dig a pond so that all the groundwater would run in there and we could get a perk test and put a building there. It was a wet portion, Anyways, here's this big mound of dirt, and it was a backdrop for us shooting, And all he wanted to do was shoot a can. So we went and put a can out there, and I'm telling him how to hold the gun and everything. And the first shot, he drills this can right through it. And I mean, not too many people hit the first time they shoot it. But he shoots, and he turns around like this, and we're all ducking and shit. I mean, because he's got a loaded gun in this city. But he's so excited, and his eyes are this big about, because he hit that can. Oh, it was the funniest thing. And from that point, he became a life member himself of the NRA.
Mark Farner turned Frank Zappa on to
guns,
which
self-defense.
A Guess Who song called "Guns, Guns, Guns."
It's necessary for the freedom of state. Necessary.
I'm afraid of them. I don't like having them around me personally.
That's okay.
Because I wouldn't know what to do with it.
It's okay, brother. And I respect that enough to protect you to have that with my gun. If some son of a bitch.
You protect me because I'm afraid of. I don't want it near me because I'm afraid it'll go off or something with me.
I hear you, brother. Yeah, you haven't had the experience. And no, we don't have a problem with that. Not at all. I will defend your right to believe that, seriously. It's those assholes that want to take them because we know it's the banksters of Oz and all of their, because look at the countries that are, helpless and defenseless. England being chief. And if you've ever seen the YouTube stuff from the citizens of England begging and telling the U.S. don't let them take your guns away from you. Look at us. Here we are trying to get. I mean, if you see some, it's very compelling. The gun for me is just my way of protecting those who can't. And I know this world is full of bullies. I hate bullies. Mm-hmm. That bully stuff don't make it with me. And the only way to deal with that is to sometimes you got to put them in their place. Fire with fire.
Now, I did fire a gun at summer camp when I was like maybe 14, which was a thing they did down in Duxbury, and you'd shoot into the sand. And it was kind of cool being a kid getting the bullet out, and it would be all,
mushroomed.
Yeah, very good. But these days now, I'm older, and I'm like, I appreciate that you appreciate my fear of that.
Sure.
And I don't want to go near it for me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Back to Zappa, and then I want to talk about the For the People album and your new album.
Yeah.
But what was it like working with Frank as opposed to working with Todd?
Well, Frank was very methodical about what he was doing. He would sit there and think about, man, he'd make a move and he'd discuss with the engineer, and then where Todd was just like on the fly, he'd be, had his feet kicked up on the console, reading a book. While we're working our ass off out there, doing a take. This is a real deal. He's in there reading away, he's another musical genius as far as, I love that guy. I love what he does, and you know, he just makes it sound good. He's got a way of touching it. He's got a gift.
Now, years later, I saw you put me on the list for Hampton Casino. I think you were playing with Todd.
Yeah.
So years later, you did the Beatles thing, which was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, Walk Down Abbey Road, 2002, with Jack Bruce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, Christopher Cross, Alan Parsons, Rundgren.
Mark Farner on guitar for Sunshine of Your Love.
Actually, that was Godfrey Townsend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jack and I jammed on Taxman.
Okay.
And we did a rendition that had never been done before. It was our rendition. It was good.
Great George Harrison song.
Yeah.
For the People, where did you record it?
Recorded For the People in, part of it was in Michigan, at one studio with analog machines.
Okay.
24 track at the Alliance. And that was Al Hirschman over there, who bought the old Swamp from me, was the Grand Funk studio. He had A Squared in Ann Arbor, where Seeger, Amboy Dukes, all these guys, SRC, MC5, all these guys cut at A Squared. So Al's been around a long time, and he needed a spot to squat, and I needed to get out from underneath that 20 acres, and he's got it now. So that was cut there, most of it. And then we did some overdubs and things at Harmony Park, where the end mix was done in downtown Detroit with the we got the Pastoria brothers there, great guys. No music, and they're musicians. They're ass kickers.
So For the People was cut where Good Singing, Good Playing was cut.
Yeah.
Same building.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool to know. I'm glad we know that. Nadine is a great song. I said that to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, and hopefully you'll do it in concert.
Yeah.
Well, because, you know, good songs are good songs. Good singing, good playing, you know. The new album, are these originals you've been working on in the time in between?
Yes. Yeah. And I've been doing some co-writing. Like the single that we're going to come out with is co-written by a friend of mine who lives over here in Pennsylvania, Paul Topetti. And he wrote the music, and I heard a whole different thing. We were jamming, we were writing music. We got together for the purpose of writing music. And I respect him musically, and also his views, you know, about love, about Jesus, and where the church is, you know, debt consciousness and all that. And so we're compatible to, you know, expose. But when he started doing this music, I said, oh, that'd be a great lick for it. And I'm hearing it. He says, well, whatever way we can use it, let's use it. So we wrote the song together. And I'm thinking, you know, it's a good, I like to dance, dude. And this is a song that will compel everybody to get their ass up and dance. You know?
Is the band called NRG? Still?
Yes.
It's still NRG.
Yeah.
And it's the same players pretty much.
Yeah. Same guys. Since like 85 for Lawrence and 91 for Hubert, and just the past like 6 years now for Carl, but going strong. Yeah, Carl. Yeah. Keyboard, singer, great guys.
How many tracks do you think you're cutting for the new one?
I don't know. Right now I've got probably 15 that's demoed, but I'm just writing some stuff now. It's like, wow, stuff is coming. So, and I don't know, I can't do it all. Maybe some of this is for other people, but man, we got some good stuff coming. You know, I think part of what happens is when somebody leaves the bone suit, the energy and who they were, the contribution they made to music is somehow deposited in those who love them. And it comes out.
Well, I'm going to give you a special gift on camera. I helped put out the re-release of Sunny.
Oh,
we talked about my friend Bobby. Do you have any thoughts on the song?
I love that song. I mean, and every time the song came on, Bobby's voice made me happy. It made me happy. You know, and I love to be happy. That's what music's about. Make them happy.
When we got this, oh, this is sealed. Okay, good. That's a sealed copy. When we got it back, Bobby called me up and he said, did they remix my album? I said, I thought so on first glance, and I listened to it. I said, that's the remastering. They did such, Heather Witten and Gavin Lurson out in California, we'd worked for 5 years to get this re-released. Bobby and I were going to do it ourselves. Like you were doing the original Dick Wagner records you put out on Listmark. We were going to put this out together, Bobby and I. And then Heather Witten called us up and said, we're going to put Sonny out for you. We said, thank you. So Heather and Gavin went in, and the remastering is so good. I thought it was a remix, and then I listened and I said, this is just the remaster.
Wow.
The technology is amazing. Which brings us to, these are reissues now. UMG is going through the vaults. Capitol just sold to Sony and to Warner's. So Capitol is now on what label? Sony?
I haven't a clue.
So your back catalog, I think, is now on Sony Records, which means the wonderful people at Legacy will probably be remastering things. Your friend Janis Joplin, when Sony put out her first solo disc, I got them old Cosmic Blues.
So, yeah.
Someone grabbed the wrong mix of Work Me Lord. So I love it. Being a fan, I'm like, this is a different guitar from Sam Andrew. Have you found that with the Grand Funk records?
No.
That someone grabs the wrong mix and all of a sudden the fans have...
Haven't found any of that so far.
I know they've corrected it since, but I love having it, you know, that there's
you bet.
You know, for the
a
fans.
collector's item,
It
dude.
is. And Janis was a good friend of yours, right?
Yes. Yes, a wonderful friend. A dear friend.
Too bad you never did a duet because your two voices would blend nicely.
Yeah. Oh, we sang a lot together.
Did you?
Yeah. Just riding.
In the car?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, on the plane or, you know, going over to the hotel on the helicopter, man. And we're in there singing. It was just
What would
great.
you sing with Janis?
Oh, blues stuff, you know. She'd just bust out something and I'd harmonize with her.
Speaking of blues, I thought I'd do some fun stuff and just talk about records. They're reissuing Jimi Hendrix now. So they put the DVD, they add and augment to these records. Axis Boulder's Love. Jimmy's more prolific than many regular artists.
Yeah.
There's like a release every 4 months. Have you heard any of the new stuff
No.
they're putting out? It's amazing that he's lasted.
Yeah.
And
Somebody's doing some marketing.
you come from that whole era. I think the Grand Funk records, along with the Mark Farner new stuff, if somehow it was coordinated, you know, people would really get turned on to for the people. I'm just talking out loud.
It's music that's got a purpose. It's like, hey, have you heard about this? Do you know?
Well, see, like back to Hendrix now. This was a movie that came out in England, so these records have been kicking around for years. The Hendrix estate hasn't put them out yet, but there's like this Live at Royal Albert Hall just keeps getting republished and republished.
Yeah.
Have you found with your music that stuff, like the early Pack days, do you see that stuff coming out or?
No, we only saw one thing that had like a compilation of everything the Pack did, or about everything, I guess it was.
All right, your thoughts on Marvin Gaye?
Love Marvin Gaye. Are you kidding me? Whew, what a voice.
Do you know he's one of my
Can
favorite?
I get a witness?
He's one of my favorite record producers of all time. I thought his production, especially what's going on, so layered. The voices, the bass, the rhythms were so textured. No one ever did anything like it. Now, Mark, are we going to have a part 2, a new book on you?
Yeah, it's in the works.
Is it?
Yeah. We're talking about just kicking it around how, and we've approached, people have actually approached us, so I guess, you know, that's kind of why we're entertaining it. But with the movie or, you know, the video being done, that there's a lot of interest. And it's just I don't have a lot of time because, you know, of Jesse. And when the free time I have is when I'm away from home, but I'm working my ass off here. So it's kind of it's difficult on especially my wife, because she's 24/7 caregiver for 2 years now. It's like, and she, prior to Jesse's injury, was road managing, taking care of all the road stuff, traveling with me. We were never apart. Chased each other through the house naked. Had all great, good times. And now we've got a house full of strangers 24/7. I mean, it's just life changed, but no complaints really. We're privileged to be able to take care of Jesse, and be the ones that are taking care of him rather than somebody in a home someplace or some facility that just don't give a shit.
No, with loving parents, I mean,
man.
That's part of the healing.
Yeah, man.
Just knowing that, knowing how much, I
We
can
believe
see how
that,
much you
Joe.
care.
Yeah, brother.
And, I was so shocked to hear, and my heart goes out to both you and Lisa.
Thank you.
It's a remarkable thing what parents can do, because they have to.
Yeah. How about them women? Jeez, oh, Pete's. Mama bear.
Yeah, well, Mama has to take care of her baby boy.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, when I last talked to you, your grandchildren were 3 months and 14 months.
Wow.
Because you said that on camera, and I was rewatching the video today.
Yeah.
I tell Joanne Cody that I didn't want to retrace old stuff. So let's just do an update. They're what, 11 and 12 now?
11 and 12.
How's that for math?
That's Ariana and Gavin, and they just went back to Austin, Texas. They were at our place for 2 weeks. I got to see them for about a week, which was great. And then Grandma took them back to Austin. And but
is that where your son lives?
Yeah,
in Austin. Okay.
Yeah, Joe lives there. And then I've got Isaac and Sarah by my son Adam in Mobile.
So
I love my grandkids.
Do you get to put the tour to Texas and to Alabama?
I don't get to. I mean, I'm blessed when it happens.
Yeah.
And I can say, hey, we're going to be 200 miles to the west of you. Get your ass over here.
So what's your theme for the new album, if you can talk about it?
There's really not a theme other than to have a really good time. Because this music that we're doing it's very danceable and it's infectious. This, Ajax Rayovac that's doing the production. He just said, man, there's something about this music. It's got a spirit to it. Well, it does. Us musicians love each other. Us guys love to play music together. I'm privileged to play with guys that are this talented, and that back me up like that. So that is part of what you're saying, that's what goes on the tape. If you're having that, if you're happy, and when you're in that recording studio, it's going to be happy, and that's what we have, man. It's also responsible because I don't want to just throw something out there that doesn't have any purpose. That has purpose.
When you say Ajax, you mean Anthony Resta?
Yes.
Duran Duran producer.
Yes.
So Mark Farner has gone from Todd Rundgren, who did the New York Dolls, and Dick Wagner, who worked with Lou Reed and Alice Cooper. The Mothers of Invention, and now Duran Duran. So you're always a constant. It's Mark Farner music, but you have these other elements coming in.
Yeah.
How do you feel this time around? Is it like a new flavor?
Yeah. And Anthony is a wonderful brother. And Kuryaty, the engineer that he's been using, those guys been together for 17 years. There's a lot of love there. And we fit right in. We're family. Those guys, I mean, immediately, my bass player and drummer are going, well, we could split that off in the corner and you could put a bed on that side. Well, we're going to move into this place.
You're at the loft.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful, man. It's like a museum over there.
It is.
It's a
Well,
lovely
Anthony has
place
something
to
else in
make
common.
music.
Other than working on this record with you, he's also a previous guest of Visual Radio.
Oh.
No, Anthony's a cool guy.
Yeah, very cool.
He was in the band Astra. So you can say, hey, I heard Joe Vig was playing the old Astra tapes. Now he'd come over and Astra was his band, and they were there in the early days of the scene.
Wow.
Yeah, Anthony and Joe Mullins. So we all go way back, and so now we're glad Mark Farner is here in our world in Boston. No, it means a lot to us.
God bless you. Thank you.
So, the Sandals, instrumental surf music used to be so big. I love this record. You know, Andy McKay from Roxy Music did instrumental stuff on his own. In Search of Eddie Riff was his great, great album. Can we look forward to a Mark Farner instrumental?
You know, there is a couple of things that are just there. One, I'll tell you the title of it, is Funk Stang. And I wrote this song, Funk Stang, and then I thought, I wonder if there is a such thing as a funk stang, you know, out there. So I did the Google thing on it. Funk Stang is a basketball team, a girls' basketball team in New Mexico. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to get this thing demoed out and send it over to them so they can start their games with this ass-kicking Michigan rock and roll.
I thought these were horses, Mustangs that hang out at Shea Stadium when Grand Funk played. Funk Stangs.
Right on.
Securing the place. That's
Yeah.
that's how my mind works. Instrumental from Mark Farner would be a lot of fun. What do you think of all the cover records these days? Covers of the Doors. You know, Stoned Immaculate. You get everyone and his brother doing Doors covers. Has there been a Grand Funk cover album?
Not that I know of.
Well, it's about time.
I'm thinking.
It's about time. Get, you know, get Astra back together to do, you know,
Grand Funk covers.
Inside Looking Out.
Right on.
Funny thing was, I think it's in your live album, you know. Someone said something about Eric Burden doing Inside Looking Out. It's that live album. I love LP covers. I mean, these are nice and fun, and you get more music.
Right.
But do you miss your having LPs?
Oh my God, yeah. Because there's so much information, and you don't have to like have your glasses on. I mean, and you're, you know, on an album. It's like open this sucker up. It's like a big encyclopedia. I mean, a lot of information in there. That's what I miss, and the posters, you know.
Now you told me that, you know, your wife's sister had the big "Give Me Shelter" poster.
Yeah.
Do you still do "Give Me Shelter"?
Every once in a while. Throw it in there every once in a while. Like Queen Bee, we'll throw it in. You know, we rotate stuff in and out.
Okay, and when you're finished with this, are you going to go on a tour when the record comes out?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Massachusetts, you know, you're made for the big stage, Mark. Yeah, you know, we saw that last week. It was a week ago, last night, the 21st, was that big event in Boston. And you guys ruled. You and Burton Cummings are made for the big outdoor concerts.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Well, we felt right at home over there. You know, what a great venue. And the people, the Bostonians, huh, forget about it. Serious rockers. Serious rockers.
Well, you know me. I wouldn't say it because you're sitting here. You know, I say what's on my mind. So far, it's the concert of the year. So far, in Boston, that one's going to be hard to top. The humidity, it was perfect, right? The sunset.
Man, yeah.
You know, Burton and Mark. It was just, it's one of those things you don't think when you go into it that it's going to be that great an experience. And you walk out saying, whoa.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough to beat. So, you know, thank you. You know, like fine wine, man. You're out there just pitching.
Thank you, Brother Joe.
A couple of questions and then we'll let you get on to your next interview.
Man.
When you conceptualize a song these days, is it different from back in the day?
A bit, because I think, well, I wonder if this person that I've been writing with might have a slant of that. I have other considerations now to what would, you know, contribute to the final project, you know, how it turns out. And I like working with people that are openly, they have good intentions and they have no intention of harming anyone. I mean, that should be like our first order of the day before your feet hit the floor. Make up your mind, no harm. I'm not going to hurt anybody today. Yeah, it's good.
And this is our question that we ask everyone. The demo that got the deal for Grand Funk Railroad, did you go in and cut a demo?
For the first deal? No. The demo was the Atlanta Pop Festival, 1969. That was our demo. and Capitol was there. You know, a lot of record company reps were there, but Capitol wanted us.
Interesting. So do they come up to Terry, or they come up to you guys and just...
To Terry, yeah, man. Yeah, and he said, man, we're going to have a Capitol deal, you guys. We went, well, good.
That first album, it's an amazing, you know, first effort from a band, even though you had done the Terry Night in the Pack.
Mm-hmm.
You'd been journeyman by that point, really. You were a young journeyman.
Mm-hmm.
But you put some great stuff together. And
thank you, brother.
And I got to say, in conclusion, Mark, you're a great role model because just growing up, a lot of things you said on TV or in the media, you know, I took to heart, carried through my life. So you got to be very careful what you say as a...
Yeah.
And because, you know, it's like, wow, you know, I've known Mark Farner a dozen years now. So, but I still think of like how impressionable I was and how you're a spokesperson for our age group back then.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
You're a great rock and roller and a good human being.
Well, thanks, Joe. And if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
No. If you're here in Boston, we're going to be at the show. Mark Farner, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
I'm going to ask Sam if we can do an interview. Are we rolling, Jay? Yeah. We're backstage at the Esplanade with Burton Cummings' magnificent set.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much. It was excuse me. We weren't really allowed to play that long tonight because Mark is coming on as well. We were only given about an hour, but it went by in 2 seconds, and the crowd was great, man. Beautiful venue, beautiful weather, great crowd. I love Boston.
I was hoping for the cocktail version of Ain't Seen Nothing Yet.
Well, but you need 20 horn players to do that properly, and we don't have that with us.
When did you get the BMI award for the 4 million?
Oh, it was actually about 6 or 8 months ago. I think it's closer to 5 million airplays now. And Stand Tall, my own single, is over 2 million airplays now. There's been about 3 or 4. They call them million airs, like million-AIRS, million times on the air. And I have 3 or 4 of them now. And it's amazing because I say this on stage a lot. You know, when you're a kid, 13, 14 years old, I weaseled my way into my first band. I never would have dreamed that I would be part of a record that, you know, like These Eyes, An American Woman, and stuff that's been played millions and millions of times. You don't tend to think that far ahead when you're a kid, and I'm thrilled about it all, you know. That stuff is around forever now.
Live at Massey Hall, Joe Vanelli. How did that all come about?
Well, I've known Joe for years. He's Gino Vanelli's brother, obviously, and we were all Canadians together when Canada first started having hit records. And Joe engineered my last album, Above the Ground, and I love Blue Moon Studios because it's about 15 minutes from where I live in Los Angeles. So most of my life, I had to fly to another city and record and stay in a hotel at night. Nowadays, when I'm mixing or recording, I go to Joe's studio and I can sleep in my own house that night. So I like that very much. Joe's a tremendous engineer, a wonderful keyboard player, and he's got a great ear for mixing. So we did 2 different nights at Massey Hall, one in 2010 and one in 2011. And we culled the best performances from both nights. And it's the album is 19 tracks. In the days of vinyl, it would have been a double album, and I'm thrilled with it. Stuff like Hand Me Down World and No Sugar and Albert Flat, all of the songs that are so recognizable, they've never sounded better. This is the same band that's on the live album, the band you saw today, and I think we really did justice to the songs, and that's what I was hoping for. You know, they're mostly my songs, and I sang them all, so I would never want to put out a lame live album, and I'm very proud of it. Believe me, it's not lame at all.
Yeah, you're mastering with
Bernie Grundman, yeah. Bernie Grundman's place is interesting. When you walk in the front door, you're blinded by gold and platinum on the walls. It's like overwhelming when you go in there. He did Thriller and Hotel California, like the biggest albums in history, you know, and I'm always thrilled because Joe and Bernie have a good relationship. So it's great for me because I know automatically Bernie will be the master, do the mastering. So it's great for me.
I know you're busy, Burton, so just a couple of questions left. These Eyes, you said it took 30 minutes to write. And what happened with the producer, and you guys really promoted that?
Well, we didn't, Randy and I, put it this way, 1969, nobody really wanted a ballad. Everybody wanted to be Led Zeppelin in 1969. We wrote the song very quickly, and I had some pieces, Randy had some pieces, and we just put them together, and it worked out fine. Then the record company went gaga over it and promoted the hell out of it, and it took off. So then they wanted another one. So we wrote Laughing, made to order, literally in about 20 minutes. They said, okay, you want another ballad? Let's write a ballad, and we wrote that. And I think what happened with our band initially, when No Time came out, that was the turning point. We started getting taken more seriously as a real band from then on.
You've made some of the greatest memories of our lives. We thank you very much for the great show tonight.
Goodness, thank you very much. And hello, Boston. What a wonderful city. I love being here, and it was great to us in the old days, and I hope to come back regularly. Thanks, everybody, for today.
Could you say this is Burton Cummings on Visual Radio?
Yeah. Hi, this is Burton Cummings on Visual Radio. Stay right here.
Thanks so much, man.
All right, thank you.
Could we ask you to say something about when you and Mark Farner played together?
Oh, sure. Hi, I'm Burton Cummings, and I am standing backstage at the Hatch Shell in Boston. Just finished my show, and the legendary Mark Farner is about to take the stage. And as I said to the audience, what a novel idea. Two authentic lead singers on the stage, not in phony bands, but in the real singers that sang the real songs that they wrote and recorded on the same stage together in one night. This was a real treat for me. I think Mark is going to enjoy himself, and I sure know that Boston enjoyed the first part anyway. This was a great day. Two authentic singers on the same stage in one night. What an idea.
And when did you, back in 1960, you play with?
We played together with Grand Funk in about 70, 71, 72, around that era. About 2 or 3 times together in the old days, yeah, early 70s.
Do you remember where you did it?
Oh, it was in the South, Arkansas, Alabama. I honestly can't, after thousands of gigs, it's hard to remember. But it was in the South, the southern states. We did about three shows together.
That's great. Thanks very much.
Thank you, folks. Thanks.
All right, welcome to Visual Radio backstage at the Esplanade. And we're talking to Burton Cummings Band, Jeff Jones on bass. Hello, Jeff.
Hi there, how are you doing?
Great. What were you doing in Chicago?
Oh, I was being born there, actually. My mama birthed me there, and I stayed there till I was 13 before immigrating to Canada.
I like that answer. And what bands did you play with in Canada?
Ocean, Put Your Hand in the Hand.
Great.
Tom Cochrane and Red Rider, Lunatic Fringe, and the Burton Cummings Band.
So Burton must have, maybe you guys, the Guess Who and Ocean did gigs together, maybe?
Did I ever meet him back in the day?
Yeah.
No, we actually never met back in the day, even though we were both active.
Conjecture never works for me on camera. I've been doing this 33 years. I just guess, and it's always wrong. But how'd you meet Burton?
We played actually a corporate event that our band, the Carpet Frogs, we were on the same bill as Burton for a corporate event, and he ended up jumping on stage with us after, and because we knew a lot of the old songs that he liked to play, and we just played a bunch of songs, and then the next thing you knew, we started playing together.
So this band was the Carpet Frogs?
Still are.
Still are. Okay, so Nick Sinopoli.
Yes. How you doing?
How did the Carpet Frogs form?
Well, actually, that happened in '93. There's a place called the Gasworks in Toronto. It's Mike Myers put in his movie and stuff, and they were closing it. And what happened was all these musicians were getting together to close. I think Triumph came and Skid Row and all these guys came down, and we were putting this thing on because we wanted to get on the bill. So called Jeff and a couple other guys that were a house band in Toronto, because we weren't rehearsing. We were just slapping this thing together just to be a part of it. And that's how it all started in 1993, just as a throw together thing to have some fun. And it's been, how many, 20 years now or something? Yeah.
Now you play percussion with Burton and you sing. Are you the lead vocalist of Carpet Frogs?
Yeah, I front the Frogs, but
You look like a front man.
yeah, I look like a frog. You mean?
I didn't say that.
Hey, you didn't need it.
I didn't say that. And we'll keep swinging around and asking questions. I want to make sure I get everyone, in case you have to run on stage and do the. Tim Bovaconti?
That's me.
Sorry.
Guitar. Tim Bovaconti, yeah. And I'll add to the earlier story. I was playing with an artist from Newfoundland in the east coast of Canada. And I was on the same gig that these guys were at, the same corporate gig. Yeah, I was playing with Kim, and then I think Burton played after us, and then you guys played after that.
We played after that.
Yeah.
And now we're all in the same band. It's pretty funny.
And then there's another tie-in with Burton. I met him through these guys. I knew these guys already. That's how I got on board 5 years ago. I'm the newest guy. But I play with a guy named Ron Sexsmith from Canada. He's a well-established songwriter. And I was watching him win a Juno Award, which is like the Canadian Grammys. And he won Songwriter of the Year, like just before I joined this band. And who presented the award to him but Burton Cummings. So I was watching on my TV. And then about a year later, I'm playing with both of them, with these guys. It's all circular, you know?
It's incestual.
Yes,
You said Kim.
Kim's Stockwood, tongue twister. Stockwood.
Do you know John Till from Stratford, Ontario, and Ken Pearson from the Janis Joplin Full Tilt Band?
I don't know them personally, but I bet you Jonesy does.
You know?
I met John Till back in the day, for sure.
Yeah. I wrote his bio on Rovi. So I've known him for 10 years. If you go to allmusic.com, I wrote the John Till.
Weren't they in the band, the final later version of the band, those guys?
No, but they started from the Rick Danko. No, not Rick Danko. I got Bluesheimer. Sorry, guys. Ronnie and the Hawks. Ronnie Hawkins.
Jeff was in that band.
You were with Ronnie Hawkins.
Yes.
So Ronnie was upset.
John Till and them were in the band. I was in the band with King Biscuit Boy, Richard Newell.
Oh, that's great history.
Yeah.
Because I heard Ronnie was upset that he was Albert Grossman's farm team.
Right.
Everyone kept leaving for Grossman. Oh, that's great. So you had fun with Ronnie.
Oh yeah, it's great. But I could only drink and party that much for about 8 months, and I was out. It was a marriage wrecker, that band.
Really?
Tell me you got hired. How you got hired?
He'd say, I hired him over the phone. I didn't know. And then I'd say, yeah, collect. And he'd say, oh, son, that's funny. You got to say that every time.
Oh, Ronnie. I didn't know.
He said, well, son, if you want to come play bass in my band, he said, I can't pay much, but you'll get more pussy than Frank Sinatra. You can't say that, really, probably.
You can put a little bleep.
My show's G-rated, but you can go into what's called the safe harbor after 10 or 11 at night, and we can say it. So we'll have a double edition just for you.
Do an alternate take, and I'll
He
go.
said,
Snuggles.
he said, well, you could come play bass in my band. I can't afford to pay much, but you get beep than Frank Sinatra.
More beep than Frank Sinatra. A summer wind, indeed. David Love?
One and only.
But no relation to Steve Love from the band Brother Louie Stories.
No.
Or
Mike Love from the Beach Boys, yes, but not Steve.
More related to Mike Love.
Who was Steve Love? What did he do? Was he that guy? That
Play guitar.
Oh, he's not the guy.
That's Ian Lloyd.
Oh, that's right. Ian Lloyd. Yeah.
You have something in common with Ian.
I do.
Ian's frequently on my show, and now you've been on my show, so
All right.
Ian's a dear friend.
It's 6 degrees of separation.
There you go. David, how'd you get the guitar? How'd you pick it up? Why?
The Beatles, yeah. I got my first guitar in 1967. Yeah, and it was because of the Beatles.
Was it a Beatles song that you started playing?
No. I think it was Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix.
Nice. What bands were you in Canada?
My first band was a band called Titan, and then my second band was a band called Dodger. And we were just a an unknown, hard-working bar band.
And then you bumped into these guys.
I weaseled my way into the Carpet Frogs, yes.
Okay. So when you do the guitar on American Woman, American Woman, is that tough? It's tough for me. I mean, I can play rhythm, but that stuff is tough.
Well, I'm mostly a rhythmer. Like, the big fella does all.
He has to do the dun 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 dun.
No, I do that. I start the song, so yeah, it's a pretty.
He does the heavy lifting.
But he does the heavy lifting.
I
But
go.
yeah.
I mean, that's great stuff. No, still, I mean
I
that.
get to go. Gung, 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 dun, 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 dun. I get to
I
do
thought it was innovative for the time. I thought, you know,
Yeah.
this guy's a class act, and I mean to be playing with him for all these years, that's amazing.
You know what? Every time I start that song and play These Eyes with him, I can feel the goosebumps, and I have a little out of body experience. It's pretty amazing.
So when Randy joins you guys, then you expand the repertoire.
Yeah, in the years that Randy played with us, we did all of his hits and you know, all the BTO classics. And
It must be an amazing thing when those two get on stage because the fan base knows, and they must really erupt.
oh yeah, 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 a lot of chemistry. Those guys have a lot of history, and they go back a long way, and the fans know it.
Now, you fellows as a unit, do you write songs together?
Yeah, we have.
We have done,
a
yeah.
couple records, or
Yeah.
CDs, or whatever they're
On
called.
your own?
Yeah, yeah.
And
They're in delete bins all over
Yeah,
North
we're
America.
in.
That's great.
We're
I mean,
number 6 on Cash Converters this week.
Plywood with an arrow.
Plywood with an arrow, going straight
Yeah, our latest CD shipped Teflon.
I like that. I like that. With Ocean, were you an original member?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we do something on our show called The Demo That Got the Deal. Was there a demo that got the deal for Ocean?
Well, the actual demo was Anne Murray's version of the song "Put Your Hand in the Hand." We were under contract to a small label, and they decided that this song would be a good song for us, even though she had recorded it on a recent album. And Capitol didn't allow her to release it as a single. She wanted to release it as a single, and they said no. And our little label, Yorkville Records, said, why don't you guys record this song? And so we listened to Anne Murray's already released version, copped it, changed it a little bit, and the rest, as they say, is history.
That's pretty cool. So you were signed to Yorkville already.
Yeah.
How did that come about? They liked the band live?
Yeah, and I actually came late into the process. I was only 16, so I joined a band of people that were aged 24 and 25, and I was lucky enough to just get dragged in there at the right time, and they were looking for a bass player, and there you go.
Do you remember going into the studio and recording it
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
in Canada?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the name of the studio?
Well, it was Head Music. It was Bay Music Studios and a subsidiary of Ahead Music, which owned Yorkville. It was, just a standard 8-track studio out in a factory district in Toronto.
So you're 16, and when you start hearing it on the radio, what are you thinking?
I'll be retired soon, won't I?
Then reality kicks in.
And then somebody took all the money. And we
really?
worked for $200 a week for years, and somebody got rich, and it wasn't us. But we were too crazy to stop, so we kept going.
Oh, man, good luck. I mean, that's really cool. That's a great story. I appreciate it. If there's anything else you guys would like to say,
Just we're ready to have some fun here tonight with Mark Farner, and looking
you will.
forward to it.
Mark's a great act.
Yeah, we've done some shows with him before, so
It's a good bill, yeah.
absolutely.
It's a good pairing. Thanks, guys.
Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Yeah.
And we love Boston.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it awesome?
We've been here before, and we love Boston. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's Visual Radio here on July 21st, probably around 5 o'clock-ish, right underneath the Esplanade.
The American woman that share the land, they gotta come with all the money they have to get that country. Like the first one, they decided, well, you take all you want, you need to carry your honey making Thursday. You take the last bit of the radio.
I want to thank our sponsor, Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Charlotte Deli Department. Without those sponsors, we wouldn't be able to present this.
He used to call me all the time. Yeah. I know, I forgot to say it. All right, I'll be right back.
Great friend, my dearest friend.